Hey there, everybody. It is Derek here on the Queers and Spears Twitch. No, we haven't been here in quite a while, but I am here with a very special friend of mine, one of our cast members from season one and season two of Queers and Spears World of Selena, who was also our guest GM for our miniseries Fautum Sept. CJ, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hello, I am CJ or Charles. I use he, him pronouns. I've been in the TTRPG community now for almost 8 years, and have been since the lovely shutdown in 2020, been branching out more, including in getting involved in this wonderful, wonderful podcast. In the first campaign, I played Kaibalia, a rogue ranger fighter, and in this second campaign, I play Max, a life cleric, and I'm very excited to see where the journey of Max takes me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see where it takes us. Also, I know I have some dastardly plans for our friend. Now, what's the first question I want to ask you? So let's start in campaign one. Um, Obviously, you were one of the first people I asked to be in the podcast. I had a very select few people that I wanted to start things with because I had played with them, felt comfortable with them, and whatnot. So when I brought to you the idea of Queers and Spears, World of Seluna, and said, "Hey, you have to make a character that is going to become a god." What were your first lines of thinking?
First line of thought is, why would you give me this much power? Just you're setting me up for, a home run as far as like building a character that can, reach those level 20 goals of possibly ascending into godhood. The almost guarantee of it made the character art very interesting. It made me want to take it from an approach of like somebody who's got something to prove here on the planet of Saluna before they go ahead and take the next step into godhood.
Yeah, okay. You were successful with that, absolutely. Because even though you took a break because of real life things, as everybody does, when you came back with Kai, I legitimately sat there because I had moments with Caliver where he did great feats like dropping a stage on a lion drake, which will probably be talked about when I get Andrew on here. Because I don't think that was planned. Well, that was planned at the beginning of the episode, but I think that was just something he thought up of. But when you came in and you were like, "Yeah, I have two levels of I have levels in fighter," I was like, "Oh, oh no." Plus, you had
Oh.
the specialized item I made for you guys back in the beginning of the campaign,
Hmm.
which just added to my own misery. Um,
Very much. The combination of a rogue, a ranger, and a fighter is very, very deadly if you choose the right things. And then the added addition of a lovely, lovely bow that adds necrotic damage on top of it just kind of made me a barrage of arrows.
yes, 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 it did. It was also funny because at that when I made the weapon, I didn't know what domains you guys were going to pick as gods, and for me to make a bow that added necrotic damage and you to end up becoming one of the death gods, like the gods of the death processes in Selena, was kind of I don't know, I kind of patted myself on the back for that because it was very preemptive and very oh wow, we didn't see that coming, but it happened. And
Yeah, very true. Just the preemptive, like the it was the foreshadowing of giving me something that would inevitably become, his own domain was
mm,
just beautiful.
yeah, and then so to like sidetrack a little bit to get into like building this, Eldritch Foundry is so amazing. I've built a couple characters in it already. Obviously, if you guys have been on our socials, you've seen me build my GMPC Maven on it, and uh, though it's not exactly how Maven would look in her description because she wears very gothic lace like clothing. Um, I felt so happy with how she looked building it. The thing that I love is that they have Eldritch Foundry has a heritage or ancestry called the Wargast, which is technically Warforged, um, which was perfect because CJ was our first guest here on the interview series, and we were like, "Oh, we can build Max." And CJ was like, "Oh, they have the ears that I was planning on using for Max," so it was just kind of perfect. And it's, if I'm not wrong, it's the plunger ears, right? That you were planning on using, or was it the robotic ones?
They were actually, I believe, the Triton ears. They had more of a like spiked kind of set on them. I added the like adornment for ears on Max just because his perception is his highest skill.
Mm,
With wisdom and cleric, perception of course is going to be incredibly high. So I just thought that
absolutely.
with, perception, he would need fairly decent hearing.
And
So
it's,
big ears on a little robot.
yeah, it's also really funny because like though they are obviously Triton ears, like they also have the option, if you paint them correctly, to look like flared trumpets of metal, which
Hmm.
is very versatile. Um, and I absolutely love it. So we have the Triton ears and the Wargast. So we can go to. He doesn't have hair,
No,
which I wouldn't
no,
fault you if you gave him hair. He doesn't have eyebrows, right? No.
no eyebrows.
So does he have? I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so that we can see it. Does he have like the metal orbs or like robotic lenses for eyes?
They're more like robotic lenses. Like I would imagine, like when I was like thinking about like building a robot, you get to kind of like pick and choose parts and pieces from all like different robots and different kinds of like lore and stuff that you've seen. I kind of imagine like the C3PO eyes in a way where they were like flat discs of like LED light that would just kind of like shine through.
Yeah, and we kind of get that like, um, oh, see, I can't even talk about it because the episode hasn't come out yet. Or wait, no, yes, it did. I was just finished editing it. In episode 11, you do the Arcana check, which allows you to see the magic in the secret room that you guys all found with my little puzzle that I set up for Iris when she stole the little octagonal thing that funnily enough, when I was talking to the player, she said she completely forgot about it, which I planned for. um, but yeah, so the robotic lens really fits. He doesn't have a beard. He's a robot, unless they have a robotic beard, but they don't. Cool. Let's do, okay, facial controls. I feel like Max, does he have an emotion on his like blanket face, or is he just blank and kind of like not have an
I
emotion
feel
set
like
on?
Yeah, that's I feel like there's no like strong emotion set on his face. It's kind of like a calm, serene face. Being a medical apparatus droid, working with patients, he needs to just seem calm and cool and collected so that the patient doesn't freak out.
Hmm,
So I would just kind of imagine like just a calm but like very serene face, the one that just doesn't move ever.
awesome. We love that. So I guess the plain Wargast face is good. He's a little more sleek though, right? Like in his design, he's not really
Mhm.
chunky.
Yeah, no, he's not chunky. He's got a very good like as far as like stats go. He's got a better constitution rather than a strength score, so he's like beefy in the fact that he's well built, but he's not strong in any sense. He's more sleek and slender in his opinion.
So we're gonna slender him out a little bit so that he's not as bulky. Which I also love. It's like, yeah, there's other builders like Hero Forge and everything, which Hero Forge is also amazing. But like Eldritch Foundry, I feel like I feel like I'm able to zoom in more because I've built stuff on Hero Forge and not knocking them. They're great. Like I love that you can have. Oh wow, you can twist the jaw. Okay. Jaw open. This jaw's pretty closed, so we can keep that closed. I need to make his chin a little thinner to go with his out face. A little thinner. That's good. Why can't I thin the jaw? That's the only thing. If I could thin his jaw, it'd be perfect. But I think he's good. He is. I love Max, and I remember when you were telling me you were like, oh, my personal life stuff stops at November. I can come in as a permanent cast member. I was like, okay, well, what are we thinking? Um, and when you brought up the idea of Max, I was like, we're doing this. I love this. Continue. And everybody was so excited for Max to come in. It was almost like they were like, okay, how many days until like CJ's allowed to come in with Max? Like, how is he coming in and everything like that? And I th- and tell me if you remember this. I think it was only like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before you came in that I was like, this is how you're coming in. Like,
Yep,
this is
it
how
was
I
very
planned it.
like it was like 2 weeks or so before like I had everything pretty much specced out, and I was like, okay, here's the date. Here's the date that I can join, and you were like, okay, awesome. And then a week later, you're like, okay, here's the plan, and I was like, sounds great.
For everybody at home, Max doesn't wear clothing, right? He's a naked boy. Um,
Yeah. Max does not wear clothing, much to Iris's dismay. No pockets, no pants, no shirt.
yeah, because we all know Iris would love to pickpocket. Max, she's done it to
I
almost
do have the back.
everybody.
I do have like the back, like patch or pouch in the
Hmm,
back with all of my like wires and components in there. So it's like
yeah,
technically one big pocket, but no clothes.
yeah. We love that. Okay, so he is officially naked. Um,
Good.
he does not have handheld. Okay, cool. What is his weapon? I think if I'm remembering correctly, it's a modified arm blade you have as his weapon.
Mhm. So yeah, so his main weapon as far as like melee attacks go is going to be a like Assassin's Creed type hidden dagger. It's the only type of melee weapon he has on him.
Hmm.
It's as sharp as a scalpel. Um, but everything else, Max, I plan on doing magic. I really intend on not getting into melee combat as much as possible.
Yeah. Let me see. Do we have? Ooh, maybe there's gauntlets with blades. Like the Repo energy gauntlet. Oh, that's something cool that I could probably bring in. Um, let me go back to blades. So maybe since we're talking about arm blades, maybe that is something that we can talk to Eldritch Foundry and add into adding, or if our wonderful Eldritch Foundry staff is watching, because I lovingly tagged them in our announcement. Um, maybe some arm blades
Wonderful.
would be a good idea for characters that want to have said type of attack weapon. Oh, y'all got they got the laser sword from Halo in here. That's so cool. Uh,
That's crazy.
yeah. Well, I mean, hey, who's to say you don't run D&D in the Halo world? Um, which that would actually be kind of fun. I
You
was a
never
Halo
know.
kid when I was younger. Um, oh wow, they have some really a chain sword. It's a chainsaw sword. Interesting. Definitely not
Interesting.
giving Max that. uh,
No, he doesn't need anything insane to just fuel him.
yeah. Is this right? Oh, that's
Although
really
he's like the relatively calmer one so far,
yeah. He is. It's a simple deck.
turning out to be a little bit of a mama bear, but that's kind of all clerics, isn't it?
Definitely a mama bear. Okay, so we won't put his weapon with him because um, we don't have the kind of blade we need for our lovely cleric. Um, Now I'm gonna get into the nitty gritty a little bit.
Hmm.
With kind of like how you think because you are also a DM. Um, Actually, I think over half of our cast right now is also DMs. Um, like you, me, and Andrew are all DMs, and then you know Mandy is stepping into it soon. She wants to run a campaign, which I'm really excited to be a part of. It's on our home table that we play, which is still in the well, hers isn't, but most of our home games in that group take place in the world of Selena. Um, but when you were thinking about Fatum Sept, kind of like what kind of went through your mind in a way where you were kind of like, okay, I'm given this side quest. Lots of countries to pick from. Obviously, we have a whole world map, which was drawn beautifully by Andrew. Um, and like, kind of before we started giving you characters and everything, like, what was your thought process with that?
Um, well, my thought process when it comes to Fodom Sep was I really wanted to explore not only a different island after, coming out of a large campaign with a lot of different countries within them, go down the scale to a world, island with two countries. And I was like, okay, well, two countries probably have some sort of conflict, but what if that conflict was never resolved and it led to something darker? So it was like my first time running a like really heavy, darker campaign with like full intentions to kill all of your characters. It was my plans and goal to kill you all, and eventually also blow up the island so that no one else could come from it. But I wanted to just put you guys through like grueling task, like a task that is like one place to another, with every obstacle being thrown at you getting harder and harder and harder, all under a time constraint that you were never going to be able to beat.
Yeah.
You did.
Look,
You
okay,
figured it out.
so when we were all bringing in characters, and I think I was the first person to come to you with a character, and I was like, hey, um, obviously, like I played a homebrew class that me and our good friend, uh, in our home game really worked hard on. I think we worked on it for like 3 weeks before it was at a point where like we were like, okay, we can play test this, and I was like, CJ, can I play this homebrew class? Like, and you were like, yeah, let's test it. Like, what's your other like besides the class? What's your other ideas for this character? And I was like, well, I want him to have almost this Avatar: The Last Airbender type storyline with his class, um, which we did. Like Freya went through all of the emotions and kind of learned how to utilize them in a different way. Um, which I'm really grateful that you allowed me to like tell that story and have my How to Train Your Dragon moment with with Xander because that was great. Um, but like when with the other players, like as as you got them, kind of like explain like how like because I know how I intermingle things, but I like hearing how like other DMs and other players kind of like try to intermingle their campaign stuff and characters.
I'm a very character driven DM. I like to present an idea of a story. So with Bottom Sept, I presented like the idea that there is this corruption that is like eating at the island, and that there's this conflict that happened some time ago that was resolved, question mark. But I really the story and like the characters and the details of like the world itself came from you all. I wanted to you all to play the stories that you wanted to play while being inspired by the world that I was giving you. So you all pretty much developed, Suntura on your own. You and Mandy helped develop Lenloch and how it works and how
Yeah,
it runs, and how your father and your family, how the system and the government helps other governments and other people from other places. And then another one of our characters, Oriana, she was from a neighboring city in the same country as yours. So there was that established connection there as well. So that I had to create that connection and that kind of trade policy. And then some of you guys were nomads, and some of you all were in completely different places. Like Andrew's character, Woe, was, we never got into the nitty gritty of it, but her world is actually in a Fey bubble on Suntura. So she lives in a Fey bubble, that is just off in the corner of that island. So everybody has pieces that they brought with their characters that just created the story and the world on its own.
wow, I actually didn't know that. And I've talked to Andrew about, well, maybe we'll have to, since they survived, maybe we'll have to go back and visit new characters, new story. Maybe we can find out. The council's probably still around. They were all pretty, most of them were like functionally immortal beings. Like the satyrs being Fey are functionally immortal. Oriana was a drow,
Mm-hmm.
so we could end up running into those characters again in a future story or a future side quest.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that we have a couple side quests in the planning right now. Some of them we're waiting for people to get back on talking about doing it, and figuring out how to do it. I know we are. I am planning one with Andrew at the moment that Andrew kind of wants to run. So I'm excited about that one. Now I was trying to find like a kind of like a pack that would go on, but I don't think there's one for the back. Let me just look inside items because you said, okay, cool, awesome. Because you said he had like a pack. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
which one do we like? Do you want a hip pouch or one that's more like on the back?
I think a hip pouch kind of makes more sense because his main component pouch, or like outlet, is like through his back, so he probably wouldn't cover that up.
Cool. So do you like? There's one with like a cool little like loop de loop that kind of looks like a sewn leather bag. Or there's one that looks like an official like wallet type thing that's like has like a buckle and a lock situation.
Mhm.
See if there's any.
I think probably more like the leather one makes sense because Max is kind of like a
Oh,
not an
there's actually a
official
clerical
like
pouch.
locker. Oh, here we go.
Like there's actually a clerical pouch. Okay, that actually kind of fits. I actually kind of like that. Does he just have one, or does he have one on each side?
Probably just has the one.
Okay, cool. That is actually clerical component pouch, even better.
Even better.
See, like options, we love it, and
We love options.
we love our team at Eldritch Foundry putting all these options and working to get more options available to us. I feel like the caster position is the best one. Actually, I really like that for him. Stride, no. The 30 plus is a little too real for some of us. I think the caster one fits him the best. Because I feel like it's very confident, and casting magic is where um, our little buddy is the most confident.
Very much. He's very confident with a tiny cat at his back.
Yes. And we think for one last question, because I believe we are. Oh, actually, wait, we can change the base. Right. Base effects. Ooh. Oh, see, I could do
I
one
think
thing.
one of the bases was like a cog or like a mechanical looking one. And I thought that one fit pretty well. Even though he's not an artificer, he is a warforged.
Mhm. So, round. Let's go all the way to the top. Uh, cog. There is one that is very steampunk. Let's see if we can find one that's almost like a hospital.
Ooh,
As he is a medical assistant.
he is. That he is. Medical assistant with a lot of numbers after
Yeah,
37682116.
yes. And which I had so much fun saying that over and over again when we did your interview. Um, it also that was so fun because it gave me the chance to play a character that truly just is not good. Like the doctor was just not a nice person.
He's just
Ooh,
not a good guy. When building that, the character in my backstory, the doctor himself, like I was really thinking like, Dr. Frankenstein, like who just dove off the deep end, who just kept
yeah,
going and shouldn't. Like what's it called? Like Dr. Mephisto from South Park. Like all these just incredibly crazy mad scientists who are just pushing the limits on uh bio, technology and
yeah.
pushing the human body. I just wanted somebody really fucking bad.
Well, I hope I was able to bring that out in him when we did that. Um,
Very much.
but also, who knows? That might not be the last time we see the doctor. Um, but uh, for one last question, in campaign 2, what is something that you want to experience in the Vanmark Republic? Something that I can bring to the story that you really want to experience that maybe for Max or even one of our other characters.
Hmm, that's a great question. I think personally, I love experiencing the worlds, like the different locations, the conflicts within those different locations in those different nations. Having different people react to heroes in different ways. Not everybody is going to idolize us in any way, shape, or form. Everybody has a different opinion. That's what I really look forward to, is like diversity in stories, which is something that you bring to the table very well. And it's, I know that just as we continue to grow and get further in this story, it's only just going to become more and more like larger than life and more, and continue to be diverse. But as far as Max goes, I'm very excited, honestly, to just, uh, as somebody who is playing like a Warforged, I want the emotional distress from not understanding emotions fully, with a side of existential dread, just coming from not knowing what to do with these emotions.
Well, you don't have to worry about the diversity and opening of the world and reactions because that's already on the way. Um, as our holiday break is going on, I am contacting more and more people to guest. We have some exciting guests for January, which once we get more stuff ironed out and we get like talking to them in our personal Discord for the cast, um, we will make announcements because we have some very good guests coming up in 2024. Um, and I am so excited to see where I can take Max. Because this is going to be a longer campaign than campaign one. Um, I think I have said this before. I have about 50 episodes plotted. Could be more, depending on what happens in the coming arcs and other cities. Um, but I'm really excited to see what happens with what is plotted with the other characters and how you all gain different relationships. I'm already enjoying the fun the fun little stuff that we have now. Unfortunately, we did lose a couple um, players this season, but it happens. It's the reality of things. Um, we wish them nothing but the best in their life and in health and everything. Um, but who knows? Maybe they'll come back after they take a little break and whatnot. But their lore will always be there, and I cannot wait to see where our little cast of four now takes us. As you all have such interesting backstories. And I cannot wait for all of you to experience it, especially because one of our cast members dropped a huge thing at the end of episode 12, which all of you will hear next Friday when it drops. Um, so just pay attention to that. Also, pay attention to our God Killer series that starts on December 8th. Um, I am. I only have two more episodes to record until the entirety of the series is done. But they're not till later in the series, so I have a little bit of time. Plus, the guests that are in those episodes, we're dealing with a very, very drama-filled final arc episode of their podcast. Um, so I can't wait to showcase all of the stuff we've been doing and the stuff that we are planning. If you want to know more about us and what we're doing, follow all of our socials. We have Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, because I'm not calling it X. Um, we also have a Facebook page. We have TikTok, which we are starting to crank out some stuff. Really getting our foothold in social media because it's so important. Um, and also stating our claim as a podcast here in the realm of TTRPGs. Um, we love you all, and I want to thank you again, CJ, for joining me as our first interview guest. Um, and continue, everybody continue doing the things that you're doing. Go to Eldritch Foundry, use our link that's in our link tree. It helps us as a podcast and it helps Eldritch Foundry be able to add more things to their website so that we can make even more creative and amazing minis. Um, which I believe it is. Oh, I forget our link. I know it ends in dash Saluna. I forget the beginning of the link. Um, but it is in our link tree, and we can't wait to see you around for future things. Um, we'll see you later. Bye bye, guys.
See you later. Bye bye.